Hello, beautiful souls. Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Priya. And today we're doing a follow up to my episode from last week where we talked about kindness being taken for granted. Now, today's topic can be both uncomfortable and freeing. Why do people take advantage of our kindness? And why, sometimes without realizing it, we've traded them to do it. Now, before you blame yourself, hear me out. This is not about self-blame. We're done with that negative self-talk. This is about self-awareness and empowerment. Because when you start to see the role that you play in these dynamics, you also see the power that you have to change them. And in some cases, literally walk away from them overnight. So if you've ever thought, why do they keep pushing my boundaries? Or why don't they respect me? Why am I always the one giving more? This episode's for you. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone who you think may benefit from this episode. By the end, I'll share how to reset these dynamics so that people finally start treating you with the respect that you deserve. Now, let's talk about the pattern of overgiving. There's givers and there's takers. And in an ideal relationship, there's reciprocity, there's equal giving, and there's equal taking. But there are certain dynamics where people are overgivers. I was an overgiver since I was young, just overgiving. And then once I got into romantic relationships, I was the giver. And I got into these relationships with people who gladly took. They just took and took and took until I had nothing left. I was giving to them so freely, and I forgot to give to myself. Now, over time, when you're in these dynamics, it creates an unspoken contract. We give, others take. I'm giving, so please take freely. In some cases, it could be that these people have a narcissistic personality disorder, and this is what they're doing, and their heart is dark and just not nice and cruel. But for the most part, in my experience, it wasn't because these people were evil or cruel. It's because I silently communicated, hey, this is okay with me. It's okay. And I did not have a boundary. The problem in these dynamics is, the other person was crossing the boundaries. Now, if I had a secure boundary up, that boundary couldn't have been crossed, but I had no boundary. I said, this is okay with me. So that crossed over and over again. We teach people how to treat us by what we allow, what we stop, and what we reinforce. So I want to bring up, after my episode last week, Universe handed me a real-time lesson. I know I had uploaded it, and pretty soon, within hours, I was at my office, and the person that I was in the relationship, who I'm often speaking about on this channel, showed up at my office. In 4 years, this person has never come to my office. And this person was also using their child to get in touch with me. Now, prior to me finding my voice, guess what I would have done? I would have responded to this person. I did an episode about blocking them. For whatever reason, my phone did not block them, but the phone call and the text message came through. And people pleasing, good girl Priya would have responded, would have taken it as, oh, they're reaching out to me. I don't care what kind of feedback this is, but they're reaching out to me. And then I also would have gone ahead to interact with the family member that they were using as a pawn to talk to me, because I was trying to be nice. I wanted to be seen as nice, then the people pleaser. This time, guess what I did? I didn't do anything. I just ignored it. And I stayed at my office working. And I set a boundary with another person in this dynamic later on, and saying, yeah, this should have never happened. You had my number. You should have contacted. And I realized I drew a line. It was tested, and it was tested real time. When you finally change the dynamic, people don't sit there and applaud you and say, hey, this is great. They resist. Think about it. If they've always gotten a yes, if they've always gotten me responding to texts and phone calls and always being there, their beck and call, why wouldn't they push harder when they start saying no? Now, I've been silent from this person for a long time now. I just have not responded because I shut that channel down. My energy is no longer available to you. So I know energetically this person could feel it, and they were pushing my boundary because they knew if they used this other person in this dynamic, I would have said yes, and I didn't. This resistance, this pushback is called the boundary backlash. Narcissists and takers often react the strongest because my new boundary, your new boundary, is a direct threat to their control. It's about control. Now, this person that I often speak of is a narcissist. It took me many years to come to that conclusion that, yeah, there's a serious issue with this person. And there was always a control dynamic there. And so me setting that boundary of just not responding these past few months has been a direct threat to their control, their access to me. So just when I stopped saying yes to everything, I suddenly became the difficult one. Why are you so mean? Why are you so bitchy? And that wasn't about me. It was about them losing the version of me that always gave in. Now, if you're in personal development, if you have a growth mindset, if you're looking to up level your life, yeah, there's so much introspection we need to do to be able to do that. Right? So then you're going to go through in your lifetime multiple iterations of yourself. You're always going to be that same person at your soul level, but there's going to be multiple versions of you. I'm not the same person I was a month ago. I'm not the same person that I was yesterday because I'm constantly evolving. This dynamic that showed up to me after that last episode, it was about them losing the version of me that always gave in, that was always there for them. What was beautiful is this was an accurate representation of what they've created. So if that person had nurtured me, had cared for me, whether it was a relationship or friendship, if that person actually respected me, we would be talking. We would be sitting and having coffee. We would be enjoying each other's company. There would be reciprocity in the giving and taking. But me not responding and immediately going to make sure that this person is blocked once and for all, that now within me, now you're seeing an accurate representation of what you created. This is a direct result of your narcissistic behavior, your control, your lies, all of it. I get to represent that now. And that's not being mean. And as I said, that people pleaser Priya from before would have immediately responded. But was that an accurate representation? No, because deep down inside, I was resentful and I was angry and I wanted this person out of my life. I just didn't know how to do it. So if they've drained you, they feel your distance. If they've dismissed you, they'll face the silence of your disengagement. If they've taken advantage, they'll feel a lack of access to your kindness on demand. And this isn't punishment. I honestly I didn't have it in my mind that I'm trying to punish you. I just set a hard boundary. It's reality. You're no longer cushioning them from the consequences of their behavior. So just remember that. When you start going into self-blame, saying, oh no, I created this dynamic, because yeah, I did create this dynamic with this person, but I'm no longer cushioning them from that. These are the consequences of their actions, and that's what they get to live with. Here's the liberation. Once you stop overgiving, you'll discover who's really in your corner and who's just liked what they got from you. I was reflecting on this morning as I walked with my dog after my morning meditation practice. I was thinking, who is really in my corner? My list is getting smaller and smaller and smaller as I start to set harder boundaries. Now, in strong relationships, they will withstand anything. They'll withstand hard conversations. They will withstand truths. But unfortunately, there are going to be those relationships that aren't in your life anymore just because those people wanted what they wanted from you in that moment, and now you're not giving them what they need. So let's talk about how to reset the dynamic. There's some practical tools. Naming the pattern. I love naming things, saying it out loud, privately acknowledge. I've been overgiving and allowing this. Think about your dynamics. Think about your relationships if you're like me, you went through this checklist, then you thought to yourself, who am I giving to? Who's taking from me all the time? Who do I feel energized with? And who do I feel depleted with when I'm around them? So just acknowledge. When you start to think about those dynamics that you have been overgiving in, just acknowledge that I have been overgiving and allowing this. Next one, communicate clearly. Use short, direct language. You don't need to give long explanations. We've talked about this in other episodes. You don't need to give a drawn out explanations. You don't need to be viewed as the nice person, good girl, anything. You don't have to care about any of that. So direct language, an example of that is, I can't take this on anymore. That's it. I'm not interested in talking anymore. Now, that short, direct language can also be non-verbally. So the fact that you're not responding, the fact that the minute there's a text from that person that you're just not quick to respond, those are all examples of communication and communicating clearly. Believe me, they'll get it. Expect pushback. That's a good one. Don't mistake someone's frustration as your failure. They're just going through their adjustment period, but it has nothing to do with you, and you don't have any responsibility in that. It's all theirs. That's theirs. You've carried the burden of their taking all this time. So you don't have to take on this. You can give that back to them. So just expect pushback when you're standing up for yourself, when you are setting boundaries, that there's going to be pushback. Even with my closest friends, there's been pushback, but those are the ones that are going to last because they've withstand truth, honesty, and integrity. And when we've communicated, it's been with compassion. The last one, stay consistent. Every time you hold your line, you retrain people what's acceptable and what's not. Even as I go to the grocery store, I've had dynamics with people there that they thought it's okay, it's appropriate to talk to me about certain things at the grocery store. And I've held my line. And now when I go, they know it's not acceptable because I literally said to them, I'm not talking about this here. I'm going grocery shopping. Leave me alone. So kindness is not the problem. And over-giving without boundaries is. Setting boundaries is so huge. When you stop cushioning people, when you finally stop cushioning people from their own behavior, softening their blow, they face an accurate reflection of what they've created. And that's not you being mean. That's you being honest. So ask yourself, where in my life am I overgiving? What would it start to look like? Retraining the people around me, one boundary at a time. Do it slowly. Don't go in there guns blazing, shifting all the boundaries at once, because that resistance can also be pretty jolting. Start retraining. You're teaching people how to treat you. So start doing it one boundary at a time. Somebody says something that you don't like and you're in a group of people, don't hesitate to say, please don't say that. If somebody crosses a boundary by showing up somewhere where you are without telling you and expecting you to drop everything to go talk to them, you can say, I'm not available, or just don't respond. Start thinking about which relationships in your life. So if you want to go deeper, grab my free training, 4 Steps to Finding Your Voice in Relationships at unmutewithpriya.com. The link is below. And for a limited time, I'm offering a free 20-minute coaching call where we can talk about your unique situation. So click the link, share this episode, like, subscribe, do all the things. And until next time, remember, your voice matters, your boundaries matter, and your kindness deserves respect.